goodness. Okay, 10th time is a charm of filming an intro. I feel like I haven't filmed a video in weeks on weeks. Bookmas really just like changes it. It's been probably a week since I filmed, but it feels like forever. Let's try it again. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is JC. If you haven't seen my face before, welcome to my first video of 2024. Happy New Year. Today's video, it is a book haul, and it's not just a book haul. It is my last book haul before my book buying ban. I feel like us book girlies definitely got some amazing books this holiday season. Now, whether or not, it was us buying them for ourselves because we got some gift cards or someone bought a specific book from our wish list, I just know that I've seen some amazing hauls on my Bookstagram, and I just love it because gift giving is one of my top love languages. Like, I love finding a gift that I know someone either like has really wanted, or I just see something for someone and I'm like, oh, I feel like they would really like this. It doesn't mean that it has to be, like expensive or extravagant, but it makes me happy to make other people happy. And when it can be like a small item, like it's just one book that's been on their wish list for a few months and they're like, yeah, I just haven't been able to get it yet. And I'm like, happy birthday. Merry Christmas. I love it. I love this time of the year. If you guys saw my Bookmas, then you would have seen that I was in my hometown for the entire month of December. And like, okay, can I just make a quick comment? Bookmas was so fun. I had so much enjoyment making that, and I feel like for me, it was way more achievable to do it like every other day posting versus either 12 days straight or definitely posting literally every day in December. Oh my gosh, with a full-time job and trying to spend like, quality time with friends and family, that would have killed me. But I feel like the way I did it made it way more manageable, way less stressful. I feel like there's only a couple times where I was like, oh boy, like how am I supposed to get this up at a decent time today? But all in all, it was successful and it was enjoyable. And I feel like I was able to produce content that I enjoyed. And I thought, I was fine being put on the internet because guys, you like posting every other day. It's different than posting once a week where you can kind of try and perfect a video and like, oh, if I don't really like this, I can refilm that part or whatever. You get what you get in Bookmas. Like, the quality is not going to be as top-notch as, the people that are posting just like once or twice a week. So I was just very happy with how it all turned out. And I don't know about you guys, but I am so behind on videos. Like, one, posting myself obviously made it harder to then catch up on others during December, but there was just so much content in December. So I have my watch later playlist that I swear has like 300 videos. So I did want to just throw it out there that I do have a playlist on my channel that is just called, Bookmas, and you can just scroll through and like you can pick out the videos that you wanted to watch. Like, hey, maybe it's just the bookstore related ones because I visited bookstores in my hometown. I went up to Kansas City for a day and visited those bookstores, and I don't know, just pick out the videos that, interest you. I don't expect you to have to watch, all of them. That's a commitment. But if you saw those videos, and I want to say thank you for everyone that watched and commented and liked and like, messaged me at the end of it just saying how much they enjoyed it. It meant so much to me. Like, it meant so much because it is worth it when I see like people really enjoy it. Like, I know I liked it, but sometimes I forget other people watch it. So then when people message me on, Instagram, or they're, commenting on the video and just saying how much they enjoyed it, I don't know. It just means a lot. Okay. So with that, you would have seen some of these books already when I, went to bookstores for a day and I bought a book here or there, whatever. But I also have quite the list of when I got gifted books at Christmas time. And then my mom has this bookshelf full of my grandma's books. Like, when my grandma passed away, she was the biggest reader ever. And I wish I would have, been into reading when she was still around, because I feel like we would have bonded so much from that alone. Like, she was my girl, she was my girl, but like we would have had the book thing in common too, and I feel like we would have popped off together. So she has a ton of books that I want to be reading over time, so I brought back one of those, and then seeing old books that I had in high school as well that I brought with me, and you'll see why. So let's get this all started. I'm going to break it up so you know which books that I just bought myself, which books I stole from my mom's bookshelf, and which books were gifted to me. I'm going to quickly go through the ones that I stole from my mom's bookshelf because those are part of the Read and Watch series. So I posted episode 1 of that, I think, in like September or October. And it's essentially the series that I want to be doing where either I'm reading an entire series of books and then watching each of the movies, because episode 1 was a part 1 of Harry Potter where I read the first 4 books, and after reading each of those I watched the movie. Or I want to be able to just read one book and then watch a movie. So, they don't have to be this extravagant thing, because people have asked me for part 2 of Harry Potter, and I'm like, guys, I want to do it, and I will be doing it. But that is a commitment, and I want to read so many books at once, so it's very hard. But these books are related to that. So I read these in high school, the Twilight series, of course, but I knew that I owned the books at home, so I was like, I want to do this for that series, but I don't want to go buy the books when I know I have copies at home. So I brought back just Twilight and New Moon. Keep in mind, guys, I flew there with 2 full suitcases, knowing I was getting gifts and buying things. So my uncle's actually visiting me in a couple weeks, and he's bringing a additional suitcase with all my extra stuff in it. So there was that. We will get into the numbers at the end. It was embarrassing. But I got these 2 books. And then the other one is Hunger Games. I actually have, I think, Catching Fire already. I got it from a library sale, I think. I hope I didn't already buy Hunger Games from that library sale. I don't think so. But I have this because I want to do that for the Read and Watch series as well. And then the last book that I got was actually my grandma's. It is Finders Keepers. She is a huge Stephen King fan. So she had all those books, and now my mom has all those. But my mom isn't a major reader pop. So me and my brother's fiance, he's a big Stephen King person. I'm getting introduced to it. This is the second book to the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, and I didn't get to read it when I had checked it out from the library, but I figured, oh my god, she literally has the copy. So I'm just going to take the copy and not have to worry about my library. So those are just a few books that I brought when I was like, oh, I know that I need to read these next. I want to use these for the Read and Watch series. It'll be great. So there's that. Then I'm going to go into the books that I bought myself. I bought Daughter of the Pirate King and A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I believe I got these both from the Dusty Bookshelf in Lawrence, Kansas, downtown Lawrence, Kansas. It is a used bookstore, and sometimes those are intimidating. Okay, let's just be honest. Like, when there's just so much and there's not a real rhyme or reason, you really have to go through all these different stacks of books. It's hard. These were placed in just like a random spot, and like these were the main books that I recognized in that place. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get these. I think, you know, they were only $7, $8 or something like that. I don't remember. But amazing condition. Like, I felt like I got these new, so I felt really good about that. I know this is like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And then I don't remember too much of this. I know I read it on camera whenever I did my Lawrence bookstore video for Bookmas, but I feel good getting these. When I went up to Kansas City, I got Kulti at Under the Cover, I believe. And this cover, guys, I've never seen this cover. Stunning. Stunning. I love Mariana Zapata. I've read All Roads Lead Here and Dear Erin. But I know I want to read kind of the sport side of things that people have suggested. So I got Kulti. And then I went to Prosperos, I believe, in Kansas City, and I found The Starless Sea. Now, that is another used bookstore, and so it was also very intimidating, and I was like, okay, like, sometimes when there's so many books that, you know, like, oh, I would read that, and I'm trying to just choose one to buy, I get stressed. Okay, I get stressed. But I recognize this one from my list, like, of just adding on my wish list, but I couldn't really remember what it was about, but I was like, I know I've seen this, and I know I wanted to read it. Also, this cover is literally gorgeous. Like, I was shocked. I think I spent $12 on this. But, like, also, look at, like, this cover. Oh, man, like, it was just so pretty. So, that's what I got there. And then, oh, I did go to another bookstore, but, like, in Kansas City in that video, I ended up buying a gift for someone there, so, like, that wasn't my book to haul, but I got this book. Okay, I went to the Raven bookstore in downtown Lawrence, and I saw this here. I ended up posting a story on my Instagram, because all of a sudden, you know, I was seeing all the very, like, polarizing reviews, and I was like, you know, I planned to read this, but now I'm terrified to read this. Like, should I pick this up? Should I give it a shot? And so I got various, like, DMs of people describing their opinions of it, and ultimately the winning vote was to, you know, give it a shot for myself. So I picked this up. I do think I want to do a reading vlog on it. Let me know if you want to see that. I think I'll post a poll on my, maybe my community tab and Instagram as well. I don't know. It's kind of hard. I don't know. I think I'll post a poll and see what people want, but I feel like I need to read this. I feel like I need to. I love Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan. Like, I definitely had a crush on Peter Pan. Like, hello. As one does. And him now, yeah, still do. Okay, still do. And then I went back to the Raven bookstore after I got a gift card from my brother and his fiance. And I got this book, A River Enchanted. It was just one of the things where I was like, I could technically use this gift card online, I'm pretty sure, but might as well just go back to the bookstore in person and get something now. So I did. And this was the book that I chose. Okay, my last stack is all the books that were gifted to me during December. I have no real rhyme or reason for these, so I'll just pick them up and talk a little bit about them. First up is This Is How You Lose the Time War. I first saw this when I was at Target, and I just remember like seeing the cover and then reading the back and being like, this seems so interesting and definitely out of my comfort zone, not something I would normally read. It looks pretty short, and I feel like this is a type of book that doesn't make complete sense, but like it's going to stick with you. So I'm very excited to pick this up. I think it was my... I can't say this out loud, but the like little blurb on the back was funny. But I think it was my brother's fiance that picked this up for me. He said he saw it on my list and was like, I've seen stuff about this and I'm interested in it, so therefore I can read it and give it to him to read or give my opinion to him. Then I got the newest book in the Enola Holmes series. Now, I read like the first 6 books in this series are like this big total. Like, they are very tiny books. They're definitely like probably middle grade. They're not young adult. There's no way. My guess is middle grade, like high middle grade. You know, Enola is Sherlock Holmes' sister. And I first picked up those books because I watched the movie on Netflix with Millie Bobby Brown. So when I read those first 6 books like so quickly, it was because I was picturing those characters in the movie, and it made it so much more enjoyable because like I was just picturing Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill like having their banter and going back and forth, and just I could kind of picture movies in my head when I was reading them a lot easier. And then this author, Nancy Springer, she came out with 2 books after those 6 that were kind of like more like these thicker books, I think, after the movie came out. So I read those 2, and this is the newest one that I believe came out in September. And I just find them so fun. Like, it's not that deep, but I can play out a movie in my head with Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill, and I'm happy. Then I got Maybe Once, Maybe Twice. This is one that was kind of confusing. It was one that if you watched, I don't know, maybe I did like a weekly vlog or something, where I went up to Kansas City with my brother, his boyfriend, and then the sister, the fiance's sister. And I'm just like not saying names. I don't know, like, whatever. But we all went up to Kansas City, and we ended up stopping at this wine and book place. It's called Bliss Wine and Books, maybe? I'm like blanking. I put it in that video with like the name and everything. But you got to pick a book under this tree that were like ARCs and just books that they couldn't sell because they're ARC copies. I hate that. I hate that. They're ARCs. Saying ARC copy is like saying ATM machine. And I just, now that I'm aware of that, I hate it. But they can't sell ARCs. So if you bought a glass of wine, then you got to pick a book. And my brother isn't a huge reader, so he was like, JC, you can pick the book. And then anyone else that we were with that bought a glass of wine also got to pick a book. So this is the one I got, and I talked more about it in that video. This looks so good to me. Like, I did not know about this until I saw it under that tree. Next up, Ninth House. Honestly, like, I knew about this book, and it was on my list because, like, people had talked about it, and I had liked it when they did. But I didn't, like, remember too much about it when I first got it. I just knew, like, oh, yeah, I wanted to read that. And then I read the back, and I was like, what? I'm so excited to read this book. Like, I'm so excited to read this book. It looks so good. And I think it's this one and what, Hellbent, I think? I don't know if there's more after that right now. I'd have to look into that. But this is stunning, and I love the matte covers on this. I think my mom got me that one. She also got me The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, so this will be also perfect if I want to include that in the Read and Watch series. I think I read The Hunger Games. I've watched all the movies. Well, no, I've watched the first 2. I don't know if I watched the Mockingjay parts 1 and 2. I don't know if I did that, but I definitely haven't seen this movie yet, and I want to, so let me know if I should do that as part of the Read and Watch series. Then I got Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I didn't, like, this is another one of those things where whenever I saw someone either talk about it or I saw like an Instagram reel about it, I was like, wow, that sounds so interesting. I'm gonna add it to my list. But then like when I picked it up, like or opened it as a gift, I recognized it and I was like, oh, I know this is on my list. But like, I was like, I don't remember like what this was about. It seems to be like a kind of mystery element, kind of spy-y as well. I don't know. A thriller, mind-bending thriller about choices, paths not taken, and how far we'll go to claim the lives we've dreamed of. I remember when I read it on the back after I got it, I was like, yeah, that sounds interesting. But also didn't remember, like, nothing clicked. I just saw it one day probably and added to my list. So that's fun. And then my mom got me a Murder on the Christmas Express. So I don't know if I'll read this prior to next Christmas or not. I don't know. Like last year I read the first book by Alexandra Benedict. I put it on my winter recommendations video. I can't remember what it's called right now. And I loved it. Like, I love that book. Like, literally, like, the last, like, paragraph, I was shook. I was like, what just happened? Like, this last page or something. It was insane. It's literally on here. The Christmas Murder Game. There we go. That's what I read last year. And this was on my, like, TBR for winter, but I didn't end up getting it beforehand. And so I don't know, last year I read this during the gap between Christmas and New Year, but I didn't have that chance this year, so I don't know if I'll just wait and hold on to this as a book that I can read next Christmas or, even in November, and I can either, recommend it to you guys or something. But she did get me this, and this was definitely on my list, so I'm happy to have that. My uncle got me Stephen King's Misery. Him and I have talked about Stephen King a lot. He's a Stephen King fan. He's read a lot more than me, and he, has the recommendations of the ones that are kind of the stereotypical Stephen King, like the psychological thriller suspense, kind of like, the Shinings of the world. Like, that is a creepy movie. Anyways, he has those kind of recommendations, but he thought I would like Misery, so that's what he got me for Christmas. And then my friend got me From Blood and Ash. She, I guess, loved this book. Like, I think she only recently read it, like, in December. I remember her, like, popping off. I was on Goodreads, and I saw, like, she had finished the book, and I was like, oh, like, good for her. Like, yay, she's reading and stuff. Like, yay, she has that time. And then it was, like, the next update was, like, the fact that she had started the second book and finished the second book, and then she had started and finished it. And I was like, girl, this is all within, like, a day. Like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? I was so impressed. So when her and I met up, she asked me, like, if I'd read this, and I was like, no, but if you're recommending it, yes, add it to the list. And so she ended up gifting this for Christmas, which I appreciate. The last book that I got when I came home, and it was book mail that I was not expecting. I was literally, I almost cried. I kind of want to cry now. It is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. I don't know. He wrote The Silent Patient and The Maidens. I gave The Silent Patient, I think, 5 stars. Or 4.5. Like, I rated it very highly. I really, really, really enjoyed that book. And then I gave The Maidens, I think, like, 3 stars. Like, I didn't like it as much. I'm very excited to read this. This was definitely on my list. It comes out January 16th. So I'm just like, I did not, like, request to get an ARC of this, so it was just such a surprise for me, and I was like, I saw people getting ARCs a few months ago, and I was like, oh my god, like, that's so cool for these people, like, I can't wait for this book to come out, and then to have this, I'm like, shut the front door. Like, I was just so surprised. I think that, like, what I loved about the books that I got was they were probably not on, like, this top, like, 5 books that I would go out and buy right now if I, like, had a gift card or whatever. So I think that's what I like about this, because these are books that I will read much sooner because people gifted them to me. Like, I probably wouldn't have gone out and bought Dark Matter first thing, But it's like, now that I have this, and when I'm in this, like, thriller mood, whatever, I'm going to want to pick this up, and I'm going to have this. And so I think that's what I like about the books that I got this December. So guys, I took 8 books with me in my suitcase to go home for the entire month because it was an entire month. I didn't know if I would have a lot of time. I didn't know what mood I would be in. I needed options, okay? I had the space and I needed options. I came back with 20 additional books. I had to pack, okay, well technically 19 because this is my 20th in the haul, but I had to pack 27 books in my suitcases. I was like, JC, girl, you have to weigh your luggage. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, I just don't know what happened. But like I said, I bought myself some of these. I knew when I went to those local bookstores and I was making those videos, like I knew I was going to buy one book at each of them for sure. And it was whether or not those were going to be gifts for people, because like I had lists of books I was buying for people, or if they were going to be for myself. So, you know, I bought several books from all these bookstores. They were well supported from me this holiday season, that's for sure. I had so much fun though. Okay, these are the books that I got in December. My next video, I believe, will be my 2024 reset. I am back home. When I'm filming this, it is January 1st. I feel so good heading into this new year. So I'm just excited to kind of, you know, spend this next week getting ready for the new year in the sense of just kind of resetting, traveling and being away for a month, and now I'm back home, you know, getting back into a routine, you know, things like my Notion, goals that I have. I will elaborate more on my book buying ban, things like that. So that will, I believe, be the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys got some amazing books this holiday season. Please let me know any of the books that you got this Christmas, you know, your favorite books that you got this Christmas. If you've read any of these and you're like, girl, you need to, you know, add that to the top of the list, make this a priority, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.